Howdy YouTube, it's Smash. It's Thursday the 28th of February 2013, which marks my 9 months on T. So, got my list again this month. So, last Friday I had my revision surgery. I posted a video the night of my surgery and I was pretty off my face on endone, so apologies for that. I stayed in hospital overnight and had the drains removed the next day and left hospital. I was taking the heavy duty pain medication for about 2 days afterwards, and then stopped because I hate that stuff. And then was just sort of taking paracetamol and anti-inflammatories, and I think for the last couple of days I haven't taken anything except for the antibiotics that I have to take. I saw Dr. Merton yesterday for a quick checkup, and he's going to be taking my stitches out on Monday, which will be 10 days post-op. So I'm not going to show my chest again at the moment until it's looking a bit better, but it's still pretty swollen and whatnot, but it's getting better, which is great. So the other kind of news this month is I ended up having an appointment with another endocrinologist, and talked about my issues, I guess, with Reandron and my lesser issues, I guess, with Concord. He said I had 3 choices. I could go back onto primotestin, or I could stay on Reandron and he'd give me some booster shots to bring my levels up to what he thinks are good, or I could get a implant of a testosterone where they just make an incision and insert it below the skin in your butt. It's not a slow release thing. He said he could take my blood, put the implant in, check my blood again, and it would be working immediately, and that would come up in tests. So we talked about Reandron, and basically I've been feeling like shit since I started Reandron, and my levels have kind of gone from, I think they were in the 30s when I started it, and they've dropped back to 14, which Concord are quite happy about, but I haven't been feeling good, and I've been there several times probably since November. I've been saying I feel like shit, and they're like, oh, don't tinker with it. Takes a bit of time to get used to it, and I'm aware of that. I've had other guys tell me that, but you know, I don't think, you know, October, November, December, January, February, I don't think 4 months is kind of an acceptable amount of time to be feeling like crap. He was surprised that they hadn't offered to give me some booster shots of Primo for my mood, and the good thing I liked about this guy was he was very receptive of how you're feeling and not what your levels are reflecting. He said, you know, obviously he doesn't want your levels to be off the Richter, but he said people have different sensitivity in their receptors, so if people are really sensitive to it, that can be a problem, but he said I'm not so sensitive to it, and I can afford to have slightly higher levels. He said I kind of churn through it pretty quickly. So I've decided to go back onto Primo, and he's got me on a 7-day cycle. So I've had 2 shots of Primo since I saw him, and he wasn't concerned that I was a third of a way through a cycle of Reandron. He just said, go and get it today, get yourself feeling how you should be, you know, get your mood back to how it should be. Um, so yeah, I feel about 1,000 times better than I did when I made my video last month. I wake up in the morning now and I don't know, just everything's just different. So I'm glad I made that choice. He suggested thinking about taking the implant in the future, just because the more you inject, the more scar tissue you build up, and he said that can affect your absorption rates as well. So I'll keep that in mind, and I think I might end up doing that in the future. But right now, I just want to get my feeling of well-being back, which I feel has returned just with 2 little doses of Primo. That's all it seemed to take. Sorry. The other thing I've noticed since going back on a Primo, my voice is kind of wavering again and doing weird things, so it's interesting that I feel like there's another drop on the way, or it's changing again. What else? I have now got all my pieces of paper signed and ready to get my gender changed on my birth certificate. So my days of surgery are over, so I can go get all of that sorted out, probably when I'm up and around a bit more. I'm just taking this week and a bit of next week off from work, and just taking it easy and resting and doing all that kind of good stuff, which I feel better for. What else? I'm back at school, which I think I mentioned before, but I'm feeling really good about my second year of photography, and I'm very excited about what lays ahead this year. I'm working on another creative project at the moment, which I am really happy about, and all will be revealed at a later date. But I'm really enjoying the creative process, and just, having an outlet to do creative things. I think it's really important. Some people don't think they're creative at all, but I think everyone's creative. We just have different ways of doing it. So yeah, I'm in a new class of people. There's still some people from my old class, but there's a whole bunch of new people, and that's been interesting as far as just working out disclosure. I had an interesting situation last week where I was sitting down with a group of ladies from my class and chatting, and one of them was kind of bitching about guys and kept sort of saying, "Oh, no offense," all this kind of stuff. And I really wanted to say, I totally understand what you're saying, and talk about my history, but I'm finding I'm torn between being about disclosing, basically, because I don't know how my friendships are going to develop with these new people, but in some ways I feel a little bit dishonest not disclosing, and I guess because there are people in the class that know of my history. I don't know, it's weird. It's such a huge part of your life, and I feel totally comfortable telling them. Like, I haven't had any bad reactions. I've had a really ideal transition experience as far as acceptance from people. I've had some friendships change, but I don't think that's anything to do with transitioning. I think it's just the cycle of friendships and what happens in life in general. So yeah, it's an interesting thing working out whether to just be stealth, or how much do you disclose to people? What's important? Do they need to know? Do you want to tell them? Like, it's a really interesting thing I've been thinking about a lot. So other than that, I'm really happy I've got my hormones in check. I'm also really happy I'm not going to be going back to Concord and sort of having my well-being in the hands of the gods of Concord. They were great to me in the beginning, but I think it's time to move on from them. And I've had an interesting experience with one of the employees that works there has misgendered me 3 times, right with me right there when she's been speaking to other people in my presence, and I've heard other incidents of this same person doing that. And I think, you know, if you're going to work in a gender clinic, you probably should really have that shit sorted out. Anyway, that's okay. So I think I'm pretty much done for this month's update. I'll do an update a little bit down the track when my chest is looking a bit better and give you an update on that. But otherwise, hope everyone's playing nice with each other, being gentle with yourselves, looking after yourselves, and I'll check in with everyone again soon. Bye, YouTube. Howdy YouTube, it's Smash. It's Thursday, the 28th of... It's February, okay? It's February, it's not that hard. It's February. Firstly, I am... I don't even know how many days post-op I am. I knew like 2 seconds ago, and now I don't know. Another interruption. Annual fire inspection of building. Of course it happens when I'm making my videos. But why do I always get an itchy nose when I'm making my videos?